Welcome into March of 1994, everyone. It's going to be a very exciting month. We've got a lot to do. There's rain coming, so our time might be cut a little short, which is not going to be great, but we got a lot to do. And as you can see, we've spent a lot of money. And right here, you can see a couple of the things we spent money on. We picked up this used Kenworth T800 and a new milk trailer. That way we can increase our storage capacity for the milk when hauling and, continue to grow as this farm grows. Now, I also bought a new hopper bottom. It's a bigger one, so it'll hold 1,155 bushels, which is going to, decrease the amount of trips we have to make to the co-op as for now, but it's going to be big enough that as we grow and continue to increase our farmland, we won't, be outsized, or, it won't be too small, I guess is what I should say. So things are going well. We've got 3 feed wagon loads we got to get hauled here. We've got cattle to sell this month. And with the amount of cattle we now have and are going to have here in the near future, we need more alfalfa land. We're definitely going to need more bales here in the near future. So this field right here, up here at the cattle barn, is going to be planted to alfalfa this year. All right, we have the feed wagon loaded here for our Herefords, so we'll go ahead and get them fed. And then we can move on to our milk and getting it sold. All right, we've got 2,816 gallons of milk. So it's nice being able to do this in one trip. And the trailer's only a third full, which means we've got quite a bit of growth we can do with our cattle and our milk production. So that's a good thing. This trailer is definitely going to pay for itself in a hurry. All right, we're down here at the creamery, so we'll go ahead and get this sold off here. All right, and we need to pull back $456. So that puts us at $21,112. That's very good. We've still got bales that we need to sell this month, cattle we need to sell this month. And also, I want to get our one alfalfa field mowed down so that we can get it plowed and cultivated and ready to be planted next month. So we've got definitely plenty of work to do, and let's hope that rain holds off and doesn't really ruin what I have planned for the day. All right, with rain coming at 10 a.m., I'm going to go ahead and try and get this all seeded here before that rain hits. But very excited to turn this into alfalfa. I think it's definitely going to be the right choice moving forward. And we should be able to get this done before 10 a.m., no problem. And it'll be a quick, short rain, so we can still get our alfalfa knocked down this afternoon. That is in our field that we're going to change over to crop ground. So everything should work out just perfectly this month, at least I hope. All right, well, we are done planting our alfalfa. So I think I'm going to go ahead and run down to the co-op, get our anhydrous toolbar and a couple of tanks, because I do believe it's going to take more than one with the amount of crop ground we're doing now, and get prepped and ready for putting anhydrous down. Now we can go ahead and start and run until the rain starts, but I do not want to do any mowing yet, because I don't want that alfalfa to get rained on. So we'll go ahead and get this cedar cleaned up, put away, run down, get our toolbar, and see if it started raining yet or not. All right, well, slight change of plans here. Decided I'm going to go ahead and sell these cattle now. I was going to do it when it rained, but I don't really want to get started on anhydrous and then, have to stop and have too many partial projects going. So we're just going to go ahead and get these cattle sold off, and this should be a pretty good payday here. We've got 9 head of cattle on the trailer here. So we'll go ahead and get these guys sold off and see, you know, what happens with the rain. All right, we're getting pulled into the animal dealer here. We'll go ahead and get these cattle sold off. All right, so we need to adjust that down $13,733. All right, so that puts us at $31,210. Very happy with that. So we'll head back to the home place here and see where we want to go while we're waiting on this rain. All right, well, it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The rain has finally stopped, so we are good to go ahead and start mowing. But first, we made some big changes and spent a ridiculous amount of money while we were waiting for that rain to quit. So, as you can see, the 1586 has the duals off, and it is now hooked up to our feed wagon. And that's because I do plan on upgrading the feed wagon here in the near future, as this one is going to get very small very fast. Some of the other things we bought, I did some research, and a 1480 will run a 30-foot bean header. You have to upgrade the tires on the combine from what I could, you know, what I read in the forums, but it will run a 30-footer, so we don't have a 30-foot option. So I went with the TerraFlex 28-foot. So that's pretty close. It'll work on the 1480, and that's, you know, just that much more each pass that will help, you know, cut our harvest time down a little bit. Our last harvest took me a little over 9 hours real time to get done, so any way I can cut that down, I'm definitely going to do it. And as you can see, I got the baler and the tedder moved out here, and that's because I needed to make room in the shed. So in this shed, we still have our seeder, we still have our combine, but we've got our brand new hopper sitting in here. And we also bought a used J&M 875 grain cart. Now, this is going to come in huge. Problem was, I didn't really have a tractor that would pull it. But we got one heck of a deal on it. I did pay cash for it, so there's no loan on it. There's no loan on that trailer. The only loan we have on equipment is in this other shed. And as you can see, we have a brand new tractor. We've got a brand new 7250. First brand new tractor on the farm. And we have a used Kinsey 16-row planter. Now, after doing some research, the Kinsey 3600 did not come out in 1994, but they did have a 16-row option. Unfortunately, I can't find a mod for it anywhere, so we're going to use this and pretend that it's the 2600 instead of the 3600. But they did have a 16-row option, so I went ahead and purchased the 16-row planter. And the 7250 is a bit big for the planter, but it will come in very handy for pulling the grain cart. So we've spent a lot of money. I took out, it was a $191,000 loan for the tractor and the planter. So we've got to make an additional $4,000 a month in payments. But I think we're fine. We've got a lot of hay bales to sell. We're going to continue making a lot of hay. So we'll have that as income every winter. Our crop ground is obviously growing, so we're going to be selling, you know, more and more crop every year. So that's a good thing. And I think we're going to be fine. It might make things a little tight and a little tough coming up, but I've also already purchased the seed and herbicide that we need for the year. So we shouldn't have any more major input costs moving forward. So that's a very, very good thing. Now, a couple of things I still want to upgrade. I do want to get a new feed wagon, and I'd love to be able to get a self-propelled chopper. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull that off this year or not, but It's definitely something I would like to be able to do. It doesn't have to be, you know, brand new by any means. But just having a self-propelled chopper would definitely make that process go a lot faster. And I also would like to put in a harvest store silo for our silage. The silage bunker, I think is going to be too small moving forward. But B, it is kind of a hassle if there is anything left over. You know, you can't really, you have to pull everything out, and, you know, we've already seen that fiasco. So, that is the plan moving forward on the farm here. Now, we've still got a lot of work to do this month. We need to get this baling done so we can sell our hay bales, as we're down to $22,000 right now. And we definitely need a little bit more income moving forward here. So we're going to get all of the alfalfa taken care of in the one field, and now in our one new field. Now, in our original alfalfa field, we are not going to mow that until May like normal. I believe mowing it this early would definitely hinder it, because there's still, you know, we're in March, there's still a chance for a freeze. But I need to get this alfalfa knocked down, baled, and ready for turning that field into crop ground. A little risky, but I think it'll be worth it. So we're going to go ahead and get this alfalfa taken care of first. And then we need to hook up the chisel plow, get these two fields plowed in together. Then we need to put anhydrous down. And another benefit of that 7250 is we can now use a bigger anhydrous toolbar. So we do have a lot of ground that we need to cover this year with anhydrous, so having a bigger toolbar is definitely going to make a big difference. Alright, so we'll get this thing fired up, we'll get it dropped down, and we can get to mowing our alfalfa here. This field shouldn't take very long. It's not, you know, a huge field by any means, but should have a pretty good yield to it. Well, I think I forgot to mention that I sold the 1066 when we sold the planter, so we don't have that tractor anymore. It was getting to be very high hours. The 856 just has a lot less hours on it and is big enough to pull our tedder. And I do believe it should be big enough to pull our baler. If not, we'll have to use the 1586. I'm hoping we don't need to do that, but if we do, we do. No big deal. But this will definitely run the tedder and the rake. So the 1066, aside from, you know, really running the feed wagon, it was kind of redundant. So, and I plan on upgrading that feed wagon here in the future. So it was a good time to get rid of it. It was, like I said, it was starting to get high hours, got a good price on it for trade-in. So it all worked out quite well. But we'll go ahead and get this field tedded, get it raked, and then we can get it baled. And once all of that is complete, we can get it prepped and ready to be turned into corn ground. All right, we got this alfalfa ready to bale here, so we'll get the baler fired up, drop down. Got the bale counter reset, and we'll see how many bales we can get off this field. And once this is done, we're going to sell a ridiculous amount of bales here. We definitely need that income, so that is every bale off this field is getting sold right away, plus the majority of the bales we already have stockpiled. All right, pulling up here on the end. Gonna have one more bale drop out, so that'll give us 23 bales on this field. That'll be very good. And we've got a lot of bales already, you know, stockpiled down at the home place that are ready to be sold. So we've got a lot of selling to do here, and then we got some plowing to do, some cultivating, and anhydrous to put down. So we've got a lot to do. It's already 2:30 in the afternoon. Well, we've got to go ahead and get it done, so let's get to it. All right, we've got our trailer loaded here, and yes, I am using the auto load feature on this trailer just to save a little bit of time here. But we're going to go ahead and sell these bales. We're selling them at $150 a bale. I'm not even sure how many bales we actually have, but it's quite a few. So we're going to go ahead and get all of these sold here, and then we can move on to doing our anhydrous. So, good news, bad news. Good news, we got all of our bales sold. We're sitting at $42,500. Bad news, anhydrous is no longer working. it just instantly empties the tank. I genuinely have no idea what's going on. So we're going to have to go a different direction when it comes to fertilizing, which is beyond frustrating. I don't understand it. It's a super common practice to put down anhydrous. I do not understand why it doesn't, all of a sudden it's not working. It makes no sense. Need to turn on our allow field here, as I'm being extremely frustrated. So we're going to go ahead and combine these two fields, and I'm going to have to figure out something for our nitrogen and fertilizer moving forward here. Not what I expected this far into the series. I mean, anhydrous has worked absolutely perfectly up to this point, so I don't know why all of a sudden it quit. Must be something to do with the latest update, but it is definitely frustrating. So I'm going to try and straighten this field out just a little bit, and then we're going to get these two fields connected. And we've got cultivating to do, and hopefully I can figure out what to do for our fertilizer moving forward here. Alright, well, I went ahead and grabbed the fertilizer cart here. We filled it up with lime. I need to lime what we just plowed up, and this field is honestly ready for it anyway, so we're just going to lime the whole thing all in one shot. This year, didn't plan on doing it this year, but, you know, things never go according to plan. But moving forward, we're only going to be using our slurry and manure, and whatever that doesn't cover, we're going to have to use, unfortunately, we will have to use just dry fertilizer or liquid fertilizer with the sprayer, because anhydrous just will not work. It's disappointing. You know, anhydrous is nothing new. It's something that's been done in the industry, I believe, since the 60s, if not the 50s. And, you know, super common practice for farming. I don't know why, A, it's not base game, and B, why it just doesn't work. It's super frustrating. But we're going to go ahead and get this lime done, and as you can see, we're down to $24,000. It's because I switched out our manure spreader. The one we had worked fine for doing, you know, little stuff, but doing a big field, it just, with it only shooting out one side, it just was going to take way too long. So I changed out the fertilizer spread, or the manure spreader, to something different, and that's what we're going to roll with moving forward here. All right, welcome into April, everyone. It is April of 1994, and we have already fed our animals, and we're heading to town with our milk. We've got 2,507 gallons of milk on, and we're going to go ahead and run to the creamery and get this sold. Now, I did go ahead and finish fertilizing all of our fields. Everything is prepped and ready to be planted, so it's just a matter of getting our chores done, getting our milk sold, and then we can get into planting. All right, we're down here at the creamery, so we'll go ahead and get this milk sold off. All right, and we need to pull back $377. All right, so that puts us at $20,835. All right, we're going to start out planting our corn. Now, I did decide I'm going to change things up a bit. The fields to the north of us, on the other side of the highway here, are going to be soybeans this year. I had originally planned on them being corn, but with the way things have kind of gone, we definitely need money, and soybeans are still paying out better than corn is. Now, we need a lot of corn for chopping and obviously, you know, selling as a cash crop, but this year especially, it's going to be more important that we do beans. So that's what my plan is moving forward. We'll have this one big field as corn, and everything else will be planted as soybeans. All right, well, we have our cornfield planted, and I did something a little different. I don't know how it's going to work, but if it does work, this is going to be awesome. I went ahead and contoured our field. So if we run up here, you can see as we run along, the row angles changed. Now, it's not perfect by any means, but it is different. I'll be very curious as to whether or not the corn actually pops up this way, or if it's just going to pop up in predetermined rows, kind of the way it did in my last series in Farmville, North Carolina, where it didn't matter what direction I planted, the rows of crop only came up in one direction. So if this does work, A, it's going to suck to combine, but B, that's pretty nifty. I don't think I've seen this on any other map where the planter rows actually follow what direction you go. I was kind of curious because I kept messing up my end rows really bad because I was just dropping the planter all willy-nilly like, but this is going to be interesting. So there's going to be all kinds of point rows out here. That's, you know, that could be an issue for sure. Not really sure how this is actually going to work, but you can kind of see how we did plant around this ridge here. Now, I've definitely got some skips and gaps and, you know, didn't do a great job, you know, with the planter, but hey, that's okay. This is going to be interesting. Now, in Farming Simulator, it doesn't matter. There's no soil erosion, so you can plant straight up and down a hill. No big deal. And in the bottoms, whether it's Farming Simulator or real life, you can plant any direction you want because it's flat and you don't have to worry about soil erosion. But being from Southwest Iowa and living with all kinds of hills and terraces everywhere, being able to contour in-game would be absolutely awesome. So we'll see what the corn looks like next month when it's popped up. Hopefully those rows do follow the way I planted. That would be absolutely terrific. But we're going to go ahead and get switched over to our soybeans here. All right, we have switched over to our soybeans, so we'll go ahead and get this dropped down. And this one we're going to do just like we always do, just straight back and forth, no big deal. This one we can, you know, just run the longest rows possible, cover as many acres as quickly as we can. And yeah, I'm super excited about that contouring. I really, really hope that works. All right, we are finishing up planting here in the big field with our soybeans. And we did have to go back and fill up the planter one time. No big deal. We definitely had plenty of seed sitting in the shed, so that worked out to our favor. Now we're going to go ahead and move up to our smaller-ish field. Honestly, I think it might be about the same amount of acres as this one now, but it's definitely a lot narrower, just way, way longer rows. So we'll move up there, get that planted, and then we can move on to spraying. And we have a bunch of spraying we need to get done. All right, we are ready to get this field planted, so we'll drop the planter down, get a row marker out, and get to it here. Now this won't take, you know, this field is definitely quite a bit narrower than any of our others, but the rows are much, much longer in this field. So not sure how long this is going to take, but it's definitely going to take a minute. And with this, our spring planting for 1994 is officially complete. Got all of our fields planted, so now we are ready to go ahead and get this planter and tractor cleaned up, put away for the year, and get our sprayer out. We've got a lot of acres to spray here. I honestly think we're up pretty close to 100 acres total, give or take anyway. And yeah, we got a lot of ground to cover, and unfortunately our sprayer is definitely not mammoth by any means. It is a good sized sprayer for the, you know, obviously for the year of 1994, but it's still, you know, going to take me probably a couple hours yet to get all of these fields sprayed. But as always, I definitely want to get my spraying done now, getting that pre-emergence down, make sure that we don't have a weed problem the rest of the year, and I can max out my yield potential here. So that is very, very good. All right, we got the old Massey Ferguson sprayer out here, so we're going to go ahead and get all of our fields sprayed. We'll start with the cornfield that we planted first. And now, while I did contour this when I was planting, I am not going to do the contour while I'm spraying because it is Farming Simulator, and going up and down the hills is not going to cause soil erosion. And it's also the fastest way to get these fields done. It's just straight back and forth. So we're not going to do the contour here. I'm still super hopeful and really going to be excited if the contouring did work with planting and the rows actually grow that way. That will be, in my opinion, a major step forward as far as Farming Simulator goes. But for now, we're just going to hammer out all these fields with our sprayer. I'm guessing it's going to take probably 3 fill-ups to get all of our fields done. Maybe be able to skate by with 2. We'll see how bad I do overlapping, but my guess is going to be 3. All right, and with this, we are officially done spraying. So we got all of our fields planted. All of them are sprayed. So we have maximized our yield potential, and I'm very excited to, see what we get for our yields in the fall here. But this should pretty well do it for the month of April. So I will see you guys in May. All right, welcome into May, everyone. It is a beautiful May morning, 53 degrees, and we're getting our chores done. I've already sold off all of our garden products and our eggs, and we're sitting at $14,000. We have just enough silage, I believe, to get our chores done and our cattle fed this month, but that is it. Well, then we will be out of silage. That's not good. I did some research, and it looks like for silage back in 1994, what I found showed that you calculate the price of silage as anywhere from 6 to 10 times the price of corn, a bushel of corn. 6 times if it's in the field, 10 times if it's already harvested. So we would be paying 10 times the price. So that would be $27.20 a bushel. Well, that comes out to $15,123 per wagon load for the wagon we use for silage. That one wagon load, I don't believe would get us through. I'm pretty sure we would need 2 in order to get us all the way through summer. So that's an issue. That would be over $30,000. That is basically all of our profit gone for the year. So makes me wonder, why aren't we selling silage? And B, I can't afford that, period. So we need to figure something out. Now, I'm not sure what we're going to do. I might just go ahead and rent a bale wrapper, and we might just have to wrap some of our alfalfa bales just to, make sure that we can get by. Not really sure, but we've got 4 loads of feed we need to get made this month. And that's, kind of a problem here. But we're going to see how far this silage gets us, and then we can make our choice and our decision on what we're going to do once we figure out just, how far we actually get through our chores here this morning. All right, we have all of our chores done, and we've got our milk trailer loaded here. We've got 2,217 gallons on. So we'll take this to the creamery and get it sold. And coming up here is going to be the moment of truth. Did our contouring actually work? I really hope it did. And it's hard to tell. Well, let's just go ahead and jump up into build mode here. And it looks like it did. Definitely have a lot of skips out there. You can tell I didn't do great in a few spots, but Yeah, those rows are actually contouring around the hill. I really hope you guys can see that. Because, yeah, it's not great. Like, it's very jagged and janky, and, I don't know if I'll do it again, but, by golly, it did work. So, our fields look absolutely fantastic, other than, my terrible skips. But, that's what happens when you're not planting with GPS, so you'll have that from time to time. But otherwise, everything else looks fantastic. So our beans look like they're doing great. The corn looks great. I don't see any weeds out there, so that is all wonderful. All right, getting pulled in here at the creamery. Go ahead and get this sold off. And we actually have to add a little bit. I'll be darned. All right, we need to add about $200 here. All right, so that puts us at $17,709. So, base game, hard difficulty. That price is definitely all over the board. We've had to add money, we've had to subtract money. It's interesting to say the least. But we'll go ahead and head back. We've got corn we need to get sold. We've got alfalfa we need to get mowed. And we still have to make a decision on what we're going to do about silage because we are officially out. All right, we have our brand new trailer with our first load of grain on it, and it is soybeans. I believe I said corn earlier, and I was wrong. I meant soybeans. So we've got soybeans to get sold this month. I don't even know how many loads at this point because we now have a new trailer that holds more. So this trailer holds 1,155 bushels, so we'll get this taken down to the co-op, get it sold, and adjust our price as needed here. Pulling into the co-op here, we'll go ahead and get this truck unloaded. Now this one does have 2 hoppers, so we'll have to unload each one, and then we can adjust the price as needed. Alright, so we need to adjust the price significant. So we need to take back $51,065. All right, that's better. So we're at $27,437. So we're going to run back, get another load, and see how many loads we end up with here. I'm guessing 3.5, 4-ish loads, somewhere in that ballpark. All right, pulling in down here at the co-op with our last little dab of soybeans here. We had 4 full loads, and then we've got 76 bushel here in the front hopper. And that is it. So we'll go ahead and get this sold off. And we need to pull back $3,379. All right, so that puts us at $51,095. I'm feeling pretty good with where we're at after selling our soybeans. We've upgraded a whole bunch of equipment on the farm. We've got a bunch of farmland that we're, currently farming. Our cattle are doing great. Our herd is growing. So I think we're in a very, very good place on this farm, even after the whole anhydrous debacle. All right, we're going to run back to the home place here and start mowing our alfalfa and getting that turned into hay. And I still have to decide. I haven't decided if I want to bite the bullet and get a bale wrapper and wrap a few bales, or spend the ungodly amount of money and buy silage. I think the renting a bale wrapper is definitely going to be the right choice. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to wrap a few bales. I need to do some math, figure out how many bales we need to wrap. And that's what, we're going to have to do. I definitely tried to expand faster than I was actually ready to, and this is one of the problems that comes with doing that. But thankfully, we do have, our saving grace of being able to wrap alfalfa bales, so that's what we're going to do. All right, we got the International 5000 out. We're going to go ahead and start mowing down our alfalfa. We're going to start in our new alfalfa field, and then we'll move on to our old alfalfa field and see how many bales we get out of both.
teardrops start to dry. Even when the sun begins to shine again. I'm taking all the advice there is, and none of it has helped. Experience has made me realize that I won't build my life on empty words. Being so damn naive, it only hurts. I'm so tired of love songs, life never turns out the way they do. I've been trying for so long, looking for someone who wants me to. I've heard every cliche there is, and none of them make sense. I'm so tired of love songs, I'm sick and tired of love songs. I'm so tired of you. Looking back on how I used to be, I always thought that love was made for me. Oh well, I was just as blue-eyed as the sky could ever be. Loving you has made me realize I'm so tired of love songs, life never turns out the way they do. I've been trying for so long, looking for someone who wants me to. I've heard every cliche there is, and none of them make sense. I'm so tired of love songs, I'm sick and tired of love songs. I'm so tired of you. I'm so tired of you. I'm so tired of you. I'm so tired of love songs, sick and tired of love songs. Even when my teardrops start to dry, and even when the sun begins to shine again, I've taken all the advice there is, and none of it has helped. I'm so tired of love songs, sick and tired of love songs. I'm so tired of you. Ooh, sick and tired of you. I'm so tired of love songs that never turns out the way they do. I've been trying for so long, looking for someone to help me through. I've heard every cliche there is, and none of them make sense. I'm so tired of love songs, sick and tired of love songs. I'm so tired of you.
All right, and we are done mowing. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up to the baler first. We're going to bale some end rows off of one of these fields and see I can't remember exactly how big the grass bale will be. So once I know how many liters that grass bale will be, I can do the math and figure out how many bales we'll actually need. We'll get all the bales we need done first for wrapping and turning into silage, and then we'll turn the rest into hay. So not sure how many we're going to end up doing of each, but we're going to find out here pretty quick. All right, we got the baler hooked up, so we'll go ahead and start baling up our end row here and see what we end up with for size. I honestly have no idea how many liters an alfalfa bale is going to be. I know what the dry alfalfa bale is, the hay, but I have no idea what just freshly mowed alfalfa is going to be. All right, 5,500 liters. So I'll do the math and figure out how many we need. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do 10 of these bales just to be safe. That should be too much, but I do want to make sure that we do have enough here, so we're going to go ahead and do 10 of them. All right, well, I went ahead and leased a bale wrapper, and I'm not going to adjust the price any. I'm definitely taking that penalty for, messing this up. Taking that little extra hit in the money. It was $2,600, but not a whole lot I can do about it at this point. It was a terrible decision on my part, so we're going to pay the full fiscal penalty here with having to lease this, and we're going to go ahead and get these wrapped right away because they will take a full 24 hours, full month, however you want to say it, to get fermented. So the sooner we get these fermenting, the better off we are. And that's our last one, so we'll go ahead and fold this up and get it returned. And we can get back to our regular hay making here and start tedding and raking and then getting everything baled. Alright, we've got all of our alfalfa tedded and raked, so we are ready to bale. And on, kind of on the bright side here, we don't have any end rows to do in this field since we've already baled those up and turned them into silage. So this field won't take very long. We've already made 10 bales, so I'll be curious as to what we end up with here in the end overall between the two fields. Alright, we got 20 bales off our new alfalfa field. And I do believe we were not at full... And I do believe we didn't get a full yield out of it because it's only been 2 months since we planted it, not 3. So we should be able to get even more bales off of it in our next cutting in August. So honestly, pretty happy with where we're at there. Not thrilled about the whole silage debacle, but we're making do anyway. And as you can see, our bean field looks absolutely fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and finish baling in here. And we should get, another 40-ish bales, I think. Maybe a few more than that. So we'll have plenty of bales to get picked up here when we get this done. And plenty of bales to make sure that we can keep our cattle fed. Alright, we're finishing up our baling here. We're going to pop out one last bale. That gives us 67 bales in total. So that means we have 57 that are hay and 10 that are silage. Pick up this last little bit of hay here, and we are done. So we'll go ahead and get all of these bales picked up, and then we need to make sure we get both of these fields fertilized again. Alright, well, it's a little after 1 o'clock, and we are ready to start fertilizing. We got all of our bales picked up and stacked nicely in the yard. So we're going to go ahead and spread some manure on both of our alfalfa fields here. And make sure that I unfold the manure spreader first. That's my bad. And make sure that we can get, maximum yield off of both of these fields here. So we'll hammer this out, and that is going to be it for the month of May, and also it for this episode. So if you guys like what you're seeing, please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.